Welcome to Audit the Audit, where we sort out the who and what and the right and wrong of police interactions. This episode covers excessive force, mental health, and resisting arrest, and is brought to us by 9 News' channel. Be sure to check out the description below and give them the credit that they deserve. On June 26, 2020, 73-year-old Karen Garner, who suffers from dementia and sensory aphasia, which impairs her ability to communicate and understand, attempted to leave a Walmart in Loveland, Colorado, carrying $13.88 of items she had not paid for when she was stopped by store employees. Ms. Garner attempted to hand over her credit card to pay for the items, but the employees refused to allow her to pay and took the items back. Ms. Garner left the store, and a Walmart employee then called the Loveland Police Department to report the supposed theft. Officer Austin Hopp responded to the call and tracked down Ms. Garner as she was walking home on the side of the road. Officer Hopp pulled up behind Ms. Garner with his lights on, and when she did not stop, he stopped his vehicle and approached her.
Ugh. All right, let's stop, ma'am. I don't think you want to play it this way. Ma'am, police, stop. You want to stop with lights on, siren? Stop. You just left Walmart. Do you need to be arrested right now? No. Okay. Let's stop.
After failing to effectively communicate with Ms. Garner, Officer Hopp grabs her and throws her to the ground in an attempt to restrain her. Ms. Garner, visibly confused, repeatedly tells Officer Hopp that she's going home as the two engage in a brief scuffle. Eventually, Officer Hopp is able to place Ms. Garner into handcuffs and lead her back to his patrol car.
I'm not doing anything.
Right now you're resisting, which is not going to fly with me. And before that, you tried to steal from Walmart. And they caught you and took the stuff back. Stand up. Oh, boy.
I'm not going anywhere.
Why are you fighting with me? And why are you trying to slip the cuffs off?
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going home.
No, you're not. Are you finished? Are you finished? We don't play this game. You understand me? And if you try to kick me, oh, this is gonna be bad.
I'm going home.
Stop.
I'm going home. I'm going home. I'm going home.
Shortly after Officer Hopp was able to gain control of Ms. Garner, Officer Daria Jalali arrives on the scene, and the two officers once again force Ms. Garner to the ground.
No, stop.
I'm pushing.
Oh, there we go. All right. Sit down.
I'm going home.
Sit down.
I'm going home.
Get in the cart.
In you go.
Do not hook onto him.
I'll come on the other side and grab her. What's that?
Where's your sergeant?
Huh? Who's my sergeant?
Yeah.
Okay, well, first, I can tell you that. Sergeant Metzler, he's at the police department. You can go talk to him if you have an issue.
Yeah, give me your car so I can put a report.
Okay.
I see you there, how you throw the little kid.
Little kid?
Well, I don't know
He's
if
not a little kid. And this
he
is what
he was just walking, and I see you how
She
you
just
grab him.
stole from Walmart and refused to stop, refused to listen to lawful orders, and to fight me. This is what happens when you fight the police. I have to use force to safely detain her. That's what this is. This isn't just some random act of aggression.
Officer Jalali assists Officer Hopp in restraining Ms. Garner's feet and placing her in the patrol vehicle, after which a concerned citizen confronts Officer Hopp about his conduct. Although Officer Hopp informs the citizen that he was within his authority to use force against Ms. Garner, his conduct almost certainly violated department policy, Colorado law, and the U.S. Constitution. Section 18-1-707 of the Colorado Revised Statutes currently states that, quote, peace officers in carrying out their duties shall apply non-violent means when when possible, before resorting to the use of physical force. A peace officer may use physical force only if nonviolent means would be ineffective in effecting an arrest. However, this language was recently added to the statute by Colorado Senate Bill 20-217, and although the bill was signed on June 19, 2020, these provisions did not go into effect until September 1st, 2020. At the time of Ms. Garner's arrest, the statute that was in effect stated that, quote, "A peace officer is justified in using reasonable and appropriate physical force upon another person when and to the extent that he reasonably believes it necessary to effect an arrest." When courts determine whether an officer's use of force is, quote-unquote, reasonable under both Colorado law and the Fourth Amendment, they review the totality of the circumstances, focusing on three factors identified by the Supreme Court in the 1989 case of Graham versus Connor. Now, quoting, "The severity of the crime at issue, whether the suspect poses an immediate threat to the safety of the officers or others, and whether he is actively resisting arrest or attempting to evade arrest by flight." While it technically could be argued that Ms. Garner was attempting to evade arrest by slowly walking away from Officer Hop in her confusion, the first two Graham factors clearly weigh against the use of force in this situation. Ms. Garner was accused of the attempted theft of Pepsi, a candy bar, a t-shirt, and some shout wipe refills, which is a petty offense in Colorado. And as an elderly woman with dementia who was 5 feet tall, weighed approximately 80 pounds, and was simply trying to walk home, she clearly posed no threat to anyone's safety.
Oh, well,
I don't know if you realize that.
Yeah, well, the way that I see it from over there,
Okay.
I was like, that's not...
But you see, you don't know the whole situation. That's the thing.
Yeah, but it's like...
But knowing the situation, do you feel differently now?
Oh, yeah. But
That's it.
like seeing it from there, that guy just walking.
Yeah, I get that. I get that. So when I went to go grab her and talk to her, she started running, leaving, pulling away from me, trying to fight me.
Well, that's the thing. I didn't see it running,
Exactly. So before you go to a snap judgment, you gotta get all the facts.
But right here, she wasn't running.
I get that.
I see her walking right there. You pull over.
I gotta deal with this. You hang tight, okay?
Get your feet in the car.
All right. Here, let me see your feet.
Credit card.
We'll get it.
Oh, my credit card.
Karen, I got your credit card, okay? It'll go with you. What's your date of birth, Karen?
I want my credit card.
I have it. You will have it with you. I will not lose it, I promise. What's your date of birth, Karen? What's your date of birth? What's your date of birth? Okay.
The officers attempt to ascertain Ms. Garner's identity by asking her when she was born, but she refuses to engage with the officers. Throughout the interaction, it does not appear that any of the officers even consider the possibility that Ms. Garner was mentally unstable, despite the obvious symptoms of dementia she exhibits. The Loveland Police Department policy on interaction with persons suspected of suffering from mental illness states that, quote, "Department members are not expected to act as mental health clinicians, make diagnoses, or provide medical or psychiatric advice, but they should be aware of commonly encountered behaviors associated with mental disorders." The policy identifies dementia as one of the mental disorders that police officers often encounter, lists disorientation, regression, memory loss, and disordered thinking and speech as typical symptoms that officers should be aware of, and explains that, now quoting, "When encountering a person exhibiting signs or symptoms that may indicate the person is suffering from a mental illness, enforcement personnel should attempt to establish a sincere relationship with the individual, while maintaining the safety and security of all persons involved throughout the encounter." According to the policy, officers should also model calm behavior and non-threatening body language, use simple commands, announce actions before initiating them, ask direct and simple questions that permit a very brief response, permit adequate response time when asking questions, utilize active listening techniques, and expect possible delayed responses due to confusion and fear. It is evident from the body camera footage that Officer Hop either failed to notice the clear signs of mental impairment in Ms. Garner's behavior or intentionally violated this policy in his interactions with her.
Negative, sorry. I got nothing else. It's just from a credit card she has. Copy. She's probably like 4'10", 5 foot, maybe like 100 pounds.
How'd you said you were fine? I would have gotten here quicker.
Oh, you were good. Had her handled. If it was a big dude, it'd been different. But she was like 20 pounds. What's the 200?
For what?
Well, at least resisting right now.
Is that a 200? Yeah, okay.
Hey.
Let's get her down to the station.
Okay, we don't need to wait for Capello?
No, we can see what I mean, we know she, what's it say?
She stole some stuff, and they caught her before she left and got it back, and then she ran out. So we have the...
And then you contacted her for that.
And then she resisted and obstructed. So we're good either way.
So we're good either way.
Cool.
She's going.
All right.
If they decide not to prosecute, I don't care.
Cool. Okay, we'll head down there.
Sergeant Philip Metzler tells Officer Hopp that Ms. Garner is going to be charged with resisting arrest and obstructing a peace officer regardless of whether the Walmart employees decide to prosecute her for attempting to shoplift. Although laws vary from state to state, in Colorado, individuals can still be found guilty of resisting arrest when they are not convicted of the charge they were being arrested for. Section 18-8-103 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, which defines the offense of resisting arrest, states that, quote, "It is no defense to a prosecution under this section that the peace officer was attempting to make an arrest which in fact was unlawful if he was acting under color of his official authority, and in attempting to make the arrest he was not resorting to unreasonable or excessive force giving rise to the right of self-defense." However, if charges were pursued against Ms. Garner, she would have a strong argument that she was acting in self-defense, as a court would likely conclude that Officer Hopp was using unreasonable and excessive force. Additionally, Ms. Garner's mental condition could serve as another defense if charges were filed against her, since to obtain convictions for both resisting arrest and obstructing a peace officer, which is codified in Section 18-8-104 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, the government would be required to prove that she acted, quote-unquote, knowingly, which Section 18-1-501 defines as being aware of the nature of one's conduct. Under Section 18-1-803 of the Colorado Revised Statutes, evidence of a, quote-unquote, impaired mental condition, which Section 16-8-102 defines as, quote, "a condition of mind caused by mental disease or defect that prevents the person from forming the culpable mental state that is an essential element of any crime charged, can be offered as a defense to show that a criminal defendant was incapable of acting knowingly." Given Officer Hopp's use of excessive force, Ms. Garner's right to self-defense, and her impaired mental condition, it is highly unlikely that she would be convicted of resisting or obstructing, and this is likely why the charges against her were quickly dropped.
Hey, you got the door open. Come on, Karen.
I'm gonna run.
You're gonna run? Oh, good thing we got the hot one.
I was gonna pay for it.
But you didn't.
After the officers brought Ms. Garner to the police station, she was carried inside, handcuffed to a bench, and left there for several hours without medical care. As a result of Officer Hopp's use of force, Ms. Garner suffered a fractured and dislocated shoulder, a bloody nose, scrapes to her face, and contusions to her knees. She was also diagnosed with post-traumatic stress disorder following the incident and continues to suffer debilitating physical pain in her shoulder, arm, and wrist. While Ms. Garner was restrained at the police station, security footage showed Officers Hopp and Jalali reviewing the body camera footage with Community Service Officer Tyler Blackett, high-fiving, bragging, and celebrating the injury to Ms. Garner's arm. In his narrative report on the use of force, Officer Hopp wrote that, quote, "Upon contact, the suspect attempted to flee the scene and was placed onto the ground to safely detain her. The suspect fought against officers continuously, and several controlling holds had to be used. The suspect sustained minor lacerations to her wrists from the handcuffs and a small laceration to her chin. Despite the fact that this account was clearly contradicted by the body camera footage and Ms. Garner's actual physical condition, multiple higher-level officers, including Sergeant Metzler, approved the use of force as, quote, necessary, reasonable, and within policy. In fact, no action was taken against any of the officers involved until Ms. Garner filed a federal lawsuit against the city of Loveland, Officers Hopp and Jalali, and Sergeant Metzler on April 14, 2021. Ms. Garner's attorney, Sarah Shilka, publicly released the body camera footage, and in response to national outrage over the incident, Officer Hopp was placed on administrative leave, and Officer Jalali and Sergeant Metzler were reassigned to administrative duties pending an internal investigation. All three officers, as well as Officer Blackett, later resigned, and the city retained law enforcement consulting firm Hillert Hines to conduct an independent investigation of the arrest and the department's policies, practices, and procedures. On May 19, 2021, the Colorado 8th Judicial District Critical Incident Response Team concluded an investigation into the incident, and criminal charges charges were filed against former officers Hop and Jalali. Mr. Hop pled not guilty to all 3 charges and is scheduled for a jury trial in April 2022. As of the date of this episode, Ms. Jalali has yet to enter a plea on the charges against her, and they remain pending. However, Loveland city leaders agreed to pay Ms. Garner a $3 million settlement on September 9th. Overall, the former Loveland officers get an F for escalating a minor violation into an unnecessary and violent arrest, failing to consider Ms. Garner's mental condition before using force, and for displaying an unprofessional attitude and what could certainly be considered sociopathic tendencies at the very least. The conduct of Mr. Hop and Ms. Jalali was nothing short of inhumane from the very beginning of this interaction, and their corruption continued well beyond Ms. Garner's arrest. Not only did the officers celebrate injuring a mentally unstable senior citizen, but they also made several attempts to alter or delete the body cam footage. Lackluster covered the details of the officer's actions following this encounter, and I highly recommend checking out his video to get a fuller picture of the lengths these officers went to in an effort to cover their tracks. I will leave a link to his coverage in the description below. The behavior of these individuals extends far beyond the context of a police encounter, and I believe that Mr. Hop's actions were just as much those of an evil and dispassionate person as they were an act of officer misconduct. This is yet another officer who deserves a grade lower than an F, and this interaction highlights the importance of taking legal action following an act of misconduct. If Ms. Garner hadn't filed her lawsuit, then this encounter likely would have never been known to the public, and Officer Hop would still be a member of the Loveland Police Department. As for Ms. Garner, it would not be appropriate to assign a grade to an individual who was not in full control of their mental faculties at the time of the interaction. If nothing else, this encounter is a prime example of the current relationship between American policing and individuals suffering from mental health conditions, and is a testament to the complications that often arise when poorly trained officers attempt to handle these cases. Ms. Garner was not only a victim of police misconduct, she was also the victim of a corrupt human being, and a society's refusal to act upon the shortcomings of policing and mental health care. I commend Ms. Garner for having the courage to follow up this interaction with the proper legal action, and I sincerely hope that this encounter inspires other departments to take preemptive measures to ensure that their officers know how to properly handle mental health calls. Let us know if there is an interaction or legal topic you would like us to discuss in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to check out my second channel for even more police interaction content.